So the first thing we're going to have to deal with is this combo box, which we have here, and we'll deal with it in exactly the same way as we dealt with in the page running costs. So I won't dwell on this for too long. So the first thing we're going to add is at the top of the page, we're going to add a list of strings. So we're going to do a function at the bottom, or a method at the bottom, whichever you want to call it. It's going to be our periods, because our periods are the same as that we had for the summary pages, exactly the same periods as we have. So we've got our list of periods, so that's okay. So on initialize, which is here, then we'll initialize the combo box. So period. So we've initialized our combo box. Okay, so we also need to make a load event for that combo box. Where is it? It is here. So we want to do loaded, and create that. And then we'll just copy the code that we used before. Just build that to make sure I've done everything for that, because sometimes you can miss out a step on that. Yeah, and that appears to be okay. So let's just run this. And our combo box should now have all of the list items in there. Yeah, it's got the 3 list items. So that's very good. So we've got that. So now what we need to do is we need to start to talk about the total cost, because we've done our period costs, and we'll tidy everything up in a minute in the next video. But our total costs are going to need some variables, and these are budget period costs. So once again, these are going to be module wide. So we've got the period loan, the period running cost, and the period total cost, and we'll need to work those out. So where are we going to work those out? Well, in order to work those out, we need to know which period has been selected. So once again, we go back to our combo box, and we're going to do selection changed. Get a method for that, and we've now got a method for that, which is good. And then we'll copy our code for that. So once again, we do exactly the same as we did before. So that's good. So we've now got that bit. And then, based on the period selected, I was getting a red there because I hadn't done the string for period selected, which I've initialized to annual. So based on that, my error should have gone away, which it has. So now I can start to put in how we work out the values that we want to use. So let's work out the loan values first. So period loan values, and that's based on the period we want to select, either annual, monthly, or weekly. We use period loan equals, which is one of the global variables, convert to double because it's a bloody decimal, loan calculator, loan annual payment based on the loan we've got. And similarly for the monthly, based on the loan we've got, and weekly, and so forth. So that's pretty straightforward. So now we want to work out the period running costs. And that's once again a switch statement. Which is there. So this time we're using the running cost calculator where it's all doubles, so we don't need to convert to doubles. So the period running cost for annuals is that total weekly cost times 52. Total monthly cost equals the weekly cost times 52 divided by 12 and so forth, and the weekly cost is exactly as it was for the total weekly cost, which we used in the summary value. Now we could have used some of the other calculators that we've got in there, but we already had the weekly all worked out, so that seems to be a good way of doing it, just to show you two different ways of doing that. So what we'll do now is we will add these two values together to get the total period costs. And when we've got those values all worked out, we can start to put them into the text boxes. Text blocks. I keep saying boxes. I'm getting very tired. I've been at this for about 10 hours today. I think I've spent about 120 hours on this in total, but never mind. So first we're going to do the period costs, and then we'll do the total cost. So that's pretty good. So let's just run this through once again, just to make sure we got the sense of the logic that we've got here. We've got down at the bottom, let's start there. We've got a list of periods here. So we want those to be available right from the start. So we have a list variable here, which allows us to have a list that we can populate in our initialization, which is going to be cost periods equals periods, the function we've just seen. So then what we do is our combo box is given that cost periods as an items source. Really good. So then what happens is we got a loaded event in our there it is, our loaded event. So what we're doing is we're saying that the item source is that, double belting on that, and that the selected index is 0. So that means that it's going to open up with annual, which is the first item in our list. So when we want to know where the period costs are calculated, we need to use the selection change, because that's where the combo box says either annual, monthly or weekly. So we do both based on a switch, the loan and the running costs, and we get those as a variable, period loan, period running cost. We add those together to get the total cost. Excuse me, and then we do the text blocks and get the values into there for each, the loan and the running cost and the overall cost. So that's looking pretty good. So let's just build to make sure I haven't made any stupid bloody mistakes again. Build succeeded. Let's start. Log in. Next. So 350 annual. £25 per week in fuel. That's a lot. Servicing is £35 per month on a payment plan, and £115 road tax. And I get summary. And there's a cost for the annual period, because this is launched immediately. The selection changed is launched immediately that the form is loaded, and I've given the annual to start with. So let's do the monthly costs. Yeah, 382.37. That's exactly right. And the running costs in there, and the period costs of that, and then the weekly. And let's just make sure that we haven't broken anything by going back to annual, and that's great. So at the moment we've got these parts in this button here, and I'll change that. So as the total loan cost, the total running cost, that's over the 3 years, and then the total of these costs plus the deposit is that's the whole cost of owning that car over the 3 years. It's looking pretty good. I think we're nearly there.